And now it is my honor to welcome to the stage Sarah Saso and Sebastian Clovis.
Good morning, everybody. Do you guys need a stretch? You want to stand and stretch for a second? Or are you good? You're good. Okay. Oh, my team.
No, we're doing a stretch. You got a football player up here. So.
Okay, we'll do a stretch.
There we go.
My team's here in the front row. Not intimidating at all, Seb. You look at them. I'm not going to. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, hello. Oh, this is crazy because I've run out in front of crowds of 50,000 people with no problem. And right now, in front of like 100, 200, my stomach is flipping.
Seb, you're just going to tell your story. We're just going to have a chat between friends.
It's a story I know.
I don't know if I'm clicking the clicker, am I? Or are you guys moving it for me? Okay, I'm going to assume you're moving it for me since I don't know otherwise. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Reframe. So Reframe is a program that Meridian started and Sebastian has gotten involved in. And it came about because we were looking at the impact of the loss of skilled trades in the economy. I think RBC had done a conversation that it was 700,000 people would leave skilled trades by 2028. So to support economically barriered individuals who want these jobs, they're good paying jobs, which Sebastian's going to talk about, get hands-on experience, and also in line with our commitment around helping communities prosper, we created Reframe. So we're going to talk a little bit today about why the Meridian attainable housing ecosystem. We're going to talk a little bit about why Sebastian's involved. The power of partnership. We're going to talk to you from the graduates themselves and the trainees, what they experience. We're going to talk about financial confidence, so how does this align with our purpose? And then the economic outcomes and lessons learned, and then what's next. So if you think about why Reframe, I just talked about that. I told Sebastian as he was sitting watching this Coro in her circle slides, I'm like, this sector likes circle slides. So I created a circle slide. Here's a circle slide. Design thinking, anyone? Put your hand up. Design thinking, anyone? So here's the dealio. Why should Meridian care about skilled trades? Well, because of the ecosystem. You know, on the charitable giving side, we are enabling paid training and wraparound supports because it's part of our social mission. On the retail mortgages side, we're giving loans to people to support the housing demand. We construction financing. We give loan to developers and builders. We do purpose lending to places like the YMCA and do equity shared mortgages for first-time buyers. We have 2,000 employees who understand financial concepts. So we've created coaches. They're financial confidence coaches, and we don't call it financial literacy because our CEO, Jan Guilfoy, believes that using the word literacy barriers people. So we call it building financial confidence. And then we advocate for support for this program. So as we designed this program, I started to think about who would be somebody that would be a role model for this in action. And I was watching TV one day, and I like the home reno shows, and I saw this commercial, and Sebastian was in it. And he was talking about skilled trades and building the future of skilled trades. And I had this moment where I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I'm just gonna call Sebastian.
She slid into my DMs.
I did. I slid into his DMs. If any of you were here 2 years ago, you know I slid into Roger Mooking's DMs. So I slid into Sebastian's DMs, and I didn't really do very well. So then I called Roger and I was like, hey, Rog, do you know Sebastian Clovis? And he's like, actually, we're on Marilyn Dennis's show together. Let me tell him you're good people and to take the call. So I got lucky. He did take the call.
That was, there's a lot of people that slide in my DMs, offering these great opportunities to do this and do that, and you don't know who to believe. And so, I thank Roger for making that phone call, because it got me involved in a program which I've become actually very proud of.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. So I want to talk to you about this opportunity. And, as you say, you've had lots of opportunities to get involved with companies. How did I convince you, or what was it about Meridian that made you think this might be something you want to get involved in?
Well, I'll tell you. I got the call from Roger, then I contacted Sarah, and Sarah set a meeting for us to go over what this program was going to be. But before we had the meeting, I was sent a 70-page SWOT analysis and report on the entire construction industry. And it was not fluffy. It was data-driven. It was very deep. I read it cover to cover. And then when we had our first meeting, you didn't roll out the idea of, here's a role that you can take in the program. You asked me for my perspective on the report. And you asked me for my perspective on the problem and how creating a solution for that problem might look in my eyes. And so right off the bat, I knew that you weren't coming to me to just put my face on a brochure. You were coming to me for real input and real collaboration, something that I could really sink my teeth into. And I'm somebody who benefited greatly as a youngster from coaching and mentorship, both on the football field and on the job site. It changed the trajectory of my life completely. And so I've always had a passion for giving back to the next generation, as you saw in that commercial. I've spent a lot of time mentoring young apprentices on the build site. I've coached a lot of kids on the football field. I've plucked a lot of football kids, off the field and put them into the trades where I feel like it's appropriate. So it made a lot of sense for me. But then when I found out that Meridian was planning on giving every one of our trainees financial confidence, that's what really did it for me, because I knew that my contributions would be multiplied exponentially in a way that I could never do. And when I was coming up, nobody gave me financial confidence. I was gonna say literacy. Nobody gave me financial confidence. I had to find out the hard way. I think I made it through university without even really understanding what a credit score was. And so I had to find out about, as many people I'm sure, had to find out about financial stuff the hard way. I read books. Gail Vass Oxlade, The Wealthy Barber was a big one for me. And then The Wealthy Barber Returns was a big one. YouTube, making mistakes and missing opportunities. All of these things can really, making these type of financial mistakes early in life can really impact your future in a serious way. Let me change that around and make it positive. Like, having financial confidence early in life can greatly impact your financial future in a positive way, despite how much money you make. And so when I realized that Reframe wasn't just about passing on skill trades, information, it was also about financial confidence, that was an alignment that I knew was, that was an intersection that was just gonna be perfect for me. And that's really why I jumped into it.
When we first talked about this program, I think we were calling it Future Builders. And you and I had a conversation one day, and you said to me, we really need to reframe this issue. And I said, oh, I like that. So talk a little bit about the issue and why we want to reframe it.
Yeah, Reframe, I think we got to that name in the first conversation, actually. That first conversation was like 3 hours. If you guys don't know Sarah, she can talk. But the reason why, Reframe popped up was because there's really, I genuinely believe that every problem that we encounter can be reframed as an opportunity. without problems, there's less opportunity to find ways to improve. And improvement is where innovation comes from, and purpose and growth. And so, in a way, problems are opportunities. In a way, I'm not wishing problems on anybody, but you can see them as opportunities. And so, as you work through that, the problem-solving process, and you're distilling down the best solution, you'll often find, especially in construction for me, you'll often find that the solution that you come up with doesn't just serve that or solve for that one problem. It actually also solves for a myriad, like a whole bunch of other problems as well. And so that's what reframing is all about. And that, I know that idea is it's not unique to me, but it did come through personal experience. Because for those of you who don't know, I used to play in the CFL, BC Lions. Grey Cup champion.
Woo!
Long story short, I blew both of my knees, 2 ACLs. It was devastating. It was a very dark moment. I remember when the doctor gave me that information that my ACL had gone out again. That's a season-ending career. It ultimately cut my career short. It was the worst thing that ever could have happened. Now, as time has passed, I've come to realize that if I had stayed healthy, I would have stayed in the CFL for maybe another 4 or 5 years, perhaps, hopefully. But if my knees hadn't gone out, then I wouldn't have been forced to come home. I wouldn't have fallen into building the way I did. I wouldn't have got that golden opportunity to create TV shows and meet Meridian and build a Reframe program and be sitting here today. And so if you ask me today if I would go back and stop that injury from happening, absolutely not. That was the best thing that could have happened. It was dark and depressing at the time, and I thought it was a major problem, but it was actually an opportunity. So what I learned is that we can't just assume that label a problem as being bad, because we don't know that. We don't know that without the benefit of time. And so with effort and with thoughtfulness, we can reframe any problem as an opportunity. And that's particularly important for this program because a lot of our trainees are second chancers. They've come from tough neighborhoods. They're in the middle of big pivots in their life. And so they are reframing their lives. And so we help them to reframe the problems in their life. We help them to reframe the stories they tell themselves and we tell ourselves. And at the end of the program, they'll be able to reframe a house and with financial confidence, reframe their financial future. And so it's not just a title of a program, it's actually a mindset.
Well, thanks for understanding the program so well. That means a lot.
Yeah, I've thought about this a little bit.
Yeah, and you've been in it in the classroom with everybody. So I do want to talk a little bit about the program, Seb. So we, as you said, we worked with Social Innovation Canada to do a study as to what was going on in the sector, playing off of the jumping off point from RBC's planning. And we looked at 2 models, I'll be honest. We looked at a charitable organization and a community college model, and then we looked at a social enterprise model. And the difference that we found was that the social enterprise model was really supporting individuals through the entire journey. So they were paying them to be in the classroom, they were giving them mental health supports, they were giving them tools, they were giving them transportation, they were giving them financial confidence, they were giving them kind of coaches, they were giving them hands-on skills after their education happened in the classroom. They went on to a factory to build tiny homes, some of whom went to homeless veterans and some of whom went into First Nations communities. Then they got to work with the City of Barrie and go into the attainable housing program where they would do minor repairs on City of Barrie housing projects. And then if they were lucky, they would get to work on bigger housing projects and graduate and get a job. Some of them were actually invited to become crew members for Building Up, who is one of our partners in Barrie. And so after we did the first year, we went back to the mayor of Barrie, who's up there on the top there to the far right, Alex Nuttall, who you may know is in the news right now dealing with some issues in Barrie. And Alex had been a kid growing up in a community housing project. And he said that this program and the graduation rates really spoke to him. And he wanted to make sure that other people had an opportunity. So he went to the City of Barrie Council and he got them to match our contribution of $250,000. And so within the first year we had matched that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, round of applause.
And that's the power of community partnership and government and municipalities. And then we went to look for another partner, and actually the group that created the program template is an organization in Toronto called Building Up.
Building Up.
And so then we went to them next, and we're currently partnering with them. So I just want to talk a little bit, Seb, about the impact of this program.
Sure.
I'm going to get into the economic impacts myself after you talk, but because everybody likes numbers around here, they're all numbers people around here. So can you talk a little bit, so you've been in the classroom with these folks, going in, not just Sebastian, hi, I'm the spokesperson, I'll come to the launch party, see you later. Sebastian's actually been driving up to Barrie, sitting with trainees, talking to them, learning about what their needs are, you know, giving them the pep talk, talking about how he did a career pivot. So do you want to talk a little bit, especially around, you know, what I've put up on the screen here is one of the feedback that you got from a trainee.
Absolutely, yeah. I've spoken with every single trainee that's gone through the program. I've spoken with personally, and tried to provide as much insight and what I call gems to be successful in this career as possible. But one of the moments that was the most memorable for me so far was a letter that I got from one of our trainees after they had left from the program. I say letter, but you guys know I just mean Instagram message. But letter just sounds like way better. It was really well written. It was very thoughtful. And so this individual sent me this letter and said that the program had been so impactful on him that after he graduated, he enrolled in an engineering program. And I was very proud of him for that, because I know a little bit of his story. And the reason why that actually stuck with me is because of the process that happened there. On a face value, it looks like we are just giving people general skilled trades training. But what we're actually doing is we're opening a door to the world of the trades, which is a vast, huge world with hundreds, maybe thousands of different disciplines. Everything from concrete forming to wallpapering. There are so many different things you can do within the trades, and we are arming our trainees with just the basic knowledge that they need from a construction renovation standpoint to walk through that door, realize how big the room is and how much opportunity there is, and then giving them the financial confidence that they need so that when they do get into that room, they can start using the money they earn to impact their life and their future in a positive way right off the bat. So that letter was kind of confirmation for me that we are really heading in the right direction, and that what we're doing is not just as simple as helping people learn how to put a screw in a piece of wood. We're actually opening up a door and changing their perspective on what's possible in life.
Yeah, so are you ready for my next slide?
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to do a call out, because unfortunately I have to leave after this, but I want Nick on my team to put his hand up so you know who he is, Nick Savelli. And Nick came to my team from our purpose lending side of the business. I kind of stole him. Because he was doing a lot of the financing stuff and working with Habitat for Humanity. So I said to Nick, let's kind of look at the economic outcome of this program, because I want to prove that it has value beyond, you know, the anecdotal that we have. So here's what we learned. Of the outcomes we're most proud of is that 90% of the trainees are employed.
90% get employment after the program.
And that's not because they can't find jobs. It might be because they're dealing with another issue that they need support for.
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay. We have proven 22 million in economic net value from 900 participants in Toronto. 11 million in social services savings by helping trainees, many who were previously on Ontario Works or OSDB or have been incarcerated, living in shelters. That's pretty amazing. Another 11 million, if you think about it, Seb, these are good paying jobs. And if we're talking about people who are just entering their careers with about $55,000 a year, that also means another $11 million return to the government in paying taxes.
In taxes.
So when we think about this program, you know, I always say backpacks or people. You can buy 1,000 backpacks, awesome.
Yeah.
But we're actually giving people an opportunity to change their economic well-being and their outcome as a human, to support themselves and their families, and to get on their path.
In a way that impacts the entire community as well. And so they're not just improving their own lives, they're improving their community's lives and all Canadians' lives as a result of becoming people who are not on support, but they are paying taxes now.
100%.
It's amazing. $22 million. Round of applause, please.
So I'm just mindful of the time we have left, and I want to ask you one more question, then you're going to ask me one question.
Sure.
What advice would you give to other companies who want to do something like we've done?
It starts with intention. I think that organizations looking to replicate what we've done need to consider how they can help empower individuals and empower communities, and understand that having your company around that type of empowerment is a really good thing. When people start to view your company as being one that really cares, that goodwill comes back tenfold. Goodwill creates goodwill. And so it's about showing up, not showing off. It's more about meaningful support over marketing. And so I think that's a very important thing. The other thing I think is very important is the team chemistry. You know, you and I get along very well. Our values are very aligned. But having that chemistry both internally in your company and then with the partners that you choose, that's very important. Anybody can bring on a famous face, and that will get you some attention for a moment in time. But if you find somebody who's truly in line with what you have going on, that person is going to show up consistently, and that's where real impact can happen. And so finding the right partners really is kind of crucial.
Yeah, and I will say for any of those of you who have been watching Meridian, Sebastian's values are extremely aligned with ours, and our marketing team has asked him to host our AGM. He's run contests for us. He's actually building things for our members. So our values are very aligned, and we're thrilled to have you as part of our Meridian family.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. I'm not sure which way you want to go. I know you're just going to answer it any way you want to. Anyway, so what is the future of Reframe 2026 and beyond, and how can people get involved?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I want to expand this program, and I know Jan does as well, right? You can't ask your partners to have mission drift. So what we're doing right now is looking at the model and trying to figure out how we might expand that across Ontario with others who want to join us. We also want other funders. If you see the economic benefits that 900 people got, you can imagine exponentially what that would be. So we want other funders to come in with us and be part of the Reframe program. There's a space for everybody. So if anybody here is interested and wants to learn more, Nick is here today. Actually, the whole front table is mostly my team on the ESG, SI, and DEIBR front. So come and put your hands up, you guys. Come and ask my team about that. But I think world domination would be great, Seb.
World domination, I'm here for it.
I know you are.
Yeah, creating a greater purpose and building our communities and just creating a great future.
Yeah, so thank you for your participation in this program. It's been so exciting since the beginning, and just seeing your dedication to it and your commitment to it, and obviously the impact you're having with the trainees. I just want to thank you for taking time to be that person and to do that work, because I know you have competing priorities. You've got a million different TV shows, you're doing renovations, and you're really making the time, and it really does matter, and it is transferring to them. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Oh, hi, Brad.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you?
I'm good. How are
look
you?
Great.
Good to see you. And sorry, I know that you have other things that you have to do today, but normally
Yes, sorry.
it's okay. Okay, we do have some questions. Just a reminder to pose your questions through the app in the section for this particular session. So the first question for Sebastian was just kind of what, after you retired from the CFL or you had the forced retirement, like what was your journey to get into this issue in particular? Like what happened in the few months following your retirement that got you here?
Sure, that's a huge story, but let me try and keep it short. First of all, I wish I retired. I got cut, like most people usually do from pro sports at some point in time. But I found myself at home. So I started building when I was very young. I started when I was 14 years old. I worked every summer. I apprenticed under Nick Reuter, who was an older gentleman who taught me everything. Framing, concrete work, electrical, plumbing. He was licensed for none of it, but he did it all. And he taught me how to do it. Very irresponsible, but thank goodness for him. And so when I came back from the CFL, I moved home. My now wife and I bought a home. 7 days after we bought the home, the entire basement flooded, and she had tears in her eyes. It was a really horrible thing. But in that moment, I remember looking at her, the tears, and looking at the basement and thinking to myself, I know how to fix that. I remember how to fix that. And so I started building. And then we ended up, rebuilding everything in the house. I didn't have a job. So I just rebuilt everything. And slowly, neighbors started to notice. And they started knocking on my door and asking me to come and have a look at their places. So the light bulb kind of went off for me, and I realized, hey, let me go and get licensed and become a builder. And it just so happened that one of the people who knocked on my door was involved in the TV industry. And long story short, 200 episodes, lots of awards, and eventually meeting the lovely Sarah Saso and getting to do this.
And maybe a final, broader question as we head into the break. Just there are bigger issues around shortages in skilled trades, and how can your program maybe help propel or fill some of that gap?
How can the program help fill some of that gap?
Yeah.
Well, the glaring piece of information that Sarah identified with that report that she initially gave me was that in the next 5 years, 700,000 tradespeople are going to be retiring. And when you go on most of the job sites, you can see it. They're all gray, and they're older and they're tired. And the youngsters who have had those tech school programs cut early, they're not getting into the trades. And so that's why there's such a big push to get young blood into the trades right now. Those programs vary. Some of them are years long. Some of them, there are different programs. Our program, however, is very sharp and to the point. Community builders and building up do a great job of arming the trainees with the necessary skills that they need to get onto the job site. Because the thing about building is that the majority of it you can't really learn in a textbook. It has to be passed from master to apprentice, from person to person. And so you have to just be able to get on the job site in order to earn the mentor that will then give you the knowledge and pass it on. And so we're empowering these people to just be able to get onto the job site in the first place, and then through the skills that we give them and the wisdom, being prompt, punctual, good attitude, quality of work, earn a mentor to be able to learn the trade which has been passed down through the centuries. And so I really do feel like we are arming people to get on that job site quickly, and then put themselves in a position to not just build homes or build condos, but build their own future.
Yeah, Brad, I just want to add that these are great paying jobs. We have a vice president of business banking who got in cahoots with me to come up with this concept. And he said, you know, in my driveway, there's 2 cars. There's my nephew, who's driving a beater, and there's my daughter's boyfriend, who's in the trades, and he's driving a, what, $150,000 Ford F-150. So, you know, these are good paying jobs, and if you do the work, you can earn a very good living.
Absolutely. Talk to any electrician, any plumber out there. It seems like a difficult job and a hard job, but there's a lot of money to be made. And like I said, people think of the trades as being like just building houses. There's thousands of jobs. The person in the trades, I tell the kids all the time, the person who I'm the most jealous of that I work with in the trades is a girl by the name of Katie. She installs wallpaper. And let me tell you, her and her husband pull up in matching Teslas. They have one tiny tool belt with a knife and a putty knife and a utility knife. And in half a day, they'll wallpaper the whole thing and walk out of there with thousands of dollars. And so one of the things we teach the kids is that you can't increase the amount of hours in a day, but you can increase the amount of value that you bring to those hours. And when you increase your skill set, you increase your value. And that's a big deal.
Well, Sarah and Seb, thank you so much for leading us into break. Wonderful presentation. Really appreciate you coming, Seb, and Sarah, you as well. And we are going to head into break, but a few words before we do. So we're going to break for 30 minutes until 11 o'clock. We're going to meet back here at 11 sharp. So our breaks are our real opportunity to network, to refresh, to re-energize. They're long, and that is entirely intentional. And while catching up on emails, we know it's fun. You're here to eat, and you're here to meet people. We will see you back here at 11, where I will lead you through a chant of OK Blue Jays. Just kidding. I won't. If the energy gets low, we're standing up and we're doing it. So see you back here at 11.